Thank you, folks. As the credits roll, please welcome back director Dan Shadur. Ido joining us. And the co-producer and writer, Ido Mizrahi.
I think Ido ran to the
men's room. That's okay. That was daring.
I don't know if I'm supposed to expose that information, but
yeah, it's enough. I love it that we ended this movie. The last line is Shabbat Shalom, and here we are.
You know what I found out recently? That my previous film about Netanyahu ends with Bibi saying Shabbat Shalom as well.
That's your thing. You have to end every film saying Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah.
Fabulous. This is how long did you work on this? Tell me. I'm diving in, and then Ido will join us.
How long? We started working on it when Amos was arrested in Kiev. I mean, I knew about the story. I think many filmmakers in Israel were kind of eager to tell that story. And when Amos was arrested, I got a call from Pinchas, who's the co-creator of the film. And he went to a yeshiva with David, the younger brother. And it was this kind of yeshiva in Jerusalem where when you're on your way out, kind of place. And they became good friends, and he knew the family. And David was under house arrest at the time. And we went to Haifa to meet him. And after 10 minutes, it was clear that it was not only a well-known story and a true crime and a very fascinating story, but that this family is special in other ways, and there's a chance to deal with other layers of, like different layers of Israeli society and more general themes. So it was clear that it's an exciting story. It was, I think, June 2019 that we went to Kiev for the first time. And hey, Ido Mizrahi.
Good job.
We just started. Don't worry. You didn't miss anything.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's when we started. We got the camera into the jail. It turns out you can do different things in Kiev that you can't do in other places. And that's when the journey started, 2019.
And so your materials for this film are also extremely unique. It's not a traditional documentary where you have your subject and you could just work with them. You're dealing mostly with telling the story I think most of it's the story from the past and trying to give visuals for that. And I thought you did a great job with the animation and finding other kind of non-traditional ways to tell that story. And of course, using, I guess, recordings from phone interviews.
Yeah, we had a lot of interviews from jail. Actually, it's been like 3 years of speaking to Amos in jail. And actually, the film was, there's a lot to say about the different kind of materials. The film was actually done 6 months before the premiere. And we were still gathering funds for the animation. We knew that we wanted to use this kind of animation with this artist, and luckily we were able to complete it. Actually, at least for me, compared to other documentaries, there were quite a lot of real-time, like actual documentary, real-time footage. But there was a lot of different footage. A lot. I mean, there's like it's a story that takes place in social media, on social media. So you have a lot of footage of how Amos becomes the persona he is, and then there's the all the things that we filmed. There's the animation, and then you have a lot of archival footage that we actually created of all the like telegrass action and the dealers and all this. So we had a little bit of that, and we actually created a lot of these archives as well.
Created meaning how so?
Oh, great. I get to say that one. there were certain shots that we might have staged a little, but those were basically, so there are a couple moments where you see, you know, teenagers smoking, like stuff where we didn't want to like expose people. So we basically had to sort of work around it and create things that we had real things, and then we sort of made things look like the real things. We had to sort of, you know, we just wanted to protect people.
Ido, how did you get involved with this? At what point?
Pretty much from the beginning. I mean, right around the time we smuggled the cameras to the Kiev prison, I think is when we, shortly before that, we started talking about it. And I had been following the story and living in New York, knowing that Amos ended up in Poughkeepsie, of all places. I just thought it was bizarre. I thought the whole thing was bizarre, and that he was running this whole thing from like his like clunky little laptop from this like terrible apartment in Poughkeepsie, and this enormous thing was happening. It was just surreal, and so it was. I didn't realize it felt exotic at the beginning, and then I realized that it was actually also important, the story.
So how do you see this story is also important? I mean, this is obviously, as you put it, like a true crime story of like, a wild, really wild criminal situation. But what's the importance of it?
I think for me, I felt it a lot in this viewing, and it's something that kind of came up a lot while we were making it. I think the PTSD is something that we realized became the heart of the story. But what he says at the end about the only way to move forward is to tear it apart and start over is, I think, something that maybe a lot of people are feeling these days. I definitely feel it every day. And I think it's something that before it became ideology for him, it was just his psychology, right? It was where he came from. He came from a family that kept tearing it apart and starting over. He tore that apart and started over by moving on and becoming this sort of new person. And anyway, I think that for me felt very relevant.
And it's not only Amos. Basically, the whole higher management of Telegrass is almost all of them are ex-Orthodox, and all of them are from the periphery. So everyone in Tel Aviv were using Telegrass at a certain point, but everyone who created it came outside of Tel Aviv, came from more remote places where you have less chances. So what you have here is an explosion of talent, innovation, technology, and religion, which can only happen in Israel and in certain areas of Israel at the moment.
It's really fascinating how, I mean, to show this film here in New York that's exposing such a side of Israel that's not on the news. I mean, apart from the headlines, of course, of this actual case, the participants and the stories. I mean, his mother, that's not somebody that we see here on the day-to-day basis as like, a representative of Israel. And I think it's fascinating to explore that. I have two more questions, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. First of all, give me the updates. You finished this over a year ago, or you say a year and a half ago. No, any updates since then?
Exactly a year. It premiered in Doc Aviv. We had a great premiere. It was a very special night with a special mix of the usual Tel Avivian crowd with a lot of Orthodox people from Tzfat and drug dealers. That's usually who's going to the Doc Aviv Film Festival anyway. So. In one of the posts after the screening, this guy wrote to Amos dude, man, such a great film. First time I'm staying the whole film without going out to smoke. So that was kind of a different vibe.
It's doing good.
It did great on TV. One of the most viewed documentaries of 2023. It went on to show on Canal Plus. It went to Warsaw Film Festival and other festivals. So yeah, we're getting a lot of good response to the film, and we're very proud of it.
And has anything happened in terms of the trial?
Every day something happens with Amos. 6 months after, actually just before we finished the film, Amos was released to house arrest. We had a whole epilogue edited at the end of the film of his release, where he comes out of jail and smokes a big joint. We decided not to use it because we really love the ending as it is, with Amos in jail and what it means and his struggle continuing. The trial went on, and actually a month ago, Amos finally signed a plea deal for 8 years in jail. I think the state asked for 15 at the beginning. He took a lot for himself, so the other deals were much less. So people signed for 3 years, 1 year. Some got out without. There were altogether 28 people indicted. So basically now the story is over.
And hopefully he'll do less than 8 years. We'll see how.
You can't count on it with Amos, because in order to get your sentence reduced, you need to regret what you did.
And Telegrass is still up and running, and
not by the name of Telegrass, but basically what Telegrass did was open up the market. So you have you can get any kind of drug very easily using Telegram in Israel at the moment. And the law changed. I mean, they had a big effect, because basically in 2019, largely to the effect of Telegrass, there was a decriminalization process in Israel. So basically you're allowed to smoke weed, but you're not allowed to buy it. So it's another Israeli combina.
I'd love to take some questions from the audience and make you a part. We're going to pass a microphone around to you. Just give it a second. Let me ask in the meantime, as the microphone runs, because I also was very curious. I'm forgetting the name of the young woman that's kind of one of his partners.
Whistleblower.
Yeah, the whistleblower, exactly. Has this film caused any additional friction?
I don't think so. I mean, she's in Amsterdam, as you can see. Ella, her name is. She's in Amsterdam, and she kind of left everything behind, and Amos is in Israel. Everybody went through so much that I don't think it's so important for them at the moment. So it's kind of, it's over.
Oh, hi. I was just wondering, of all of the people in his ring of associates, there was one person missing, the CFO, and the film never really addressed what happened to him. So my question is, what's going on with him?
You're not the only one asking.
He might be sitting here right now, actually.
Nicknamed Gal, Yossi Meshi is also from an Orthodox family in Jerusalem. He was probably the mastermind of everything. I mean, Amos was more the ideological power of it. His face helped create Telegrass and make it popular. Gal was the brain. He was organizing a lot of the operation, and he just went hiding, and the police couldn't find him. They looked for him in Europe. The photos that we see are from Berlin, so they met just a few months before the arrest. But no one knows where he is. We put out a message to someone who might know where he is. We asked for anything, just send us like a message, a voice recording, anything you want, and so we can tell your version of the story. And we got no reply. So
we have a question up here.
Hi, first of all, that was such a poignant film. You really question who the criminal is, right, with everything. So thank you. Money. We don't know where it is, but we know that you pay 420 shekels to get in as a dealer. What are other ways that they made money if it's a cash business?
What do you mean other ways?
Like, what are other ways that Telegrass, the hierarchy of the executive suite, how do they make their money? And also, do we know anything where the money went?
We don't really know. I mean, the indictment was based on many assumptions that the state made. So you had a price for everything. But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of stoners running this operation. So you need to actually get the cash, bring it to places, keep track of everything. There was a lot of money going through. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't.
How did you really finance this film? Let's say.
Yeah, right. Suddenly, 6 months before the premiere, we had money for the animation.
Suddenly the animation just arrived.
I don't know. I think that was it for the business model, by the way. I think it was just the 420 times however many times you want to buy basically placement on the platform. And that was multiplied by thousands of dealers in different cities. But it's weird. I think what happened was if you look at all the people who worked for the platform at some point, it was a lot of people. It was 120 managers and then hundreds of people working for them. They all got pretty nice salaries. I don't know that there was like a ton of money profit that was made. Like one story we've heard from a couple different sources is that the police actually waited for a while. That's why they let them go on for a year and a half before they actually made busted them, is because they wanted to see something on the profit side so that it makes for a better case. But they really couldn't wait anymore, and there was they were really only kind of paying up for stuff. And then maybe they had a couple million shekels, and then the police just went for it. So I don't know that it actually. So even though there's they're saying 280 million shekel cycle a year, that's what dealers are making on the platform. That's not necessarily coming into managers of Telegrass.
Dealers made a lot of money.
Right.
Still do, I suppose.
Let me ask, what's next for you guys? What are you working on?
I start. I have another documentary that just came out called The Longest Goodbye. That's on PBS now. And I'm making a virtual reality video game. Yeah. And and some other fun stuff.
I just finished working on a documentary I was hired for a German network about the October 7th events. It was a nightmare. I'm producing a film that is premiering very soon. Still not allowed to tell. It's a beautiful film by a first-time director. I hope it will come here next year. It's called Strange Birds. And I'm working on a fiction story about 1948.
Nice. Folks, I want to thank you for being a part of this. Thank you so much for being here and presenting this beautiful film and sharing this with us and giving us these insights. We have now the 20s, 30s Shabbat dinner on the 7th floor for those who signed up for that. And join us Sunday for another full day of films. Please help spread the word. We want to make sure everybody gets to see these fabulous films. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.